Presidential candidate Senator Bernie Sanders held a rally in Denver Civic Center Park on Monday with over 10,000 supporters in attendance. Sanders won Colorado in 2016 through the former caucus system. Colorado's presidential primary election is on Tuesday, Super Tuesday, March 3rd, 2020. Chris, 2016, Colorado felt the burn. It was his state. Does the energy for him still exist here?
No, I don't know. I can't watch him without thinking of the anteater on Pink Panther. I mean, seriously, the voice, right? His ideas are old, he's old, and he's also got a competitor in the party, and that is Elizabeth Warren. She's taken a big bite out of his platform. She loves socialized medicine, raising taxes, and all of that. Fact is that may capture the imagination of the lunatic fringe in this state, but I can't see the whole nation going for that kind of nutty policy.
The fact that you brought up the anteater character from a Pink Panther cartoon is just, thank you so much, Chris. That was fantastic. As an animation fan, that just warms the cockles on my heart. Eric, Bernie Sanders was a phenomenon in 2016. It is not going away in 2019 and 20. What does he do to the politics in Colorado with the energy and fervor that he may be able to generate?
Well, there's so many differences between 2016 and what's coming up in 2020. Let me just tick off a few. The most important one, it's not a difference, but the factor is by the time March 3rd rolls around, we will have been through Iowa, we'll have been through New Hampshire, we'll have been through South Carolina. The field will not look like the field looks now. A couple candidates will have momentum. A lot of candidates will have gone bye-bye. You don't know exactly what the field looks like. As we saw again last night in the ABC debate, Warren and Sanders seem to have this non-aggression pact, that they don't fire at each other. That can't last. Ultimately, they are competing for the same voter or the same chunk of voters. That pact can't last. And ultimately, I believe that Warren will win the battle for that hard left-wing lane. So we'll see what shape Bernie is when Colorado comes around on March 3rd of next year. But in 2016, he had the left lane to himself. It was a two-candidate race. It was Hillary and not Hillary. He occupied the not Hillary role. He occupied the left lane by himself, and it was a caucus, not a primary. All of that is different here. What's the old line? Past performance is not an indicator of future results. Anyone who relies very much on the 2016 caucus to predict 2020 is making a big mistake.
Winnie, from what you can see, is that Bernie energy committed to Bernie, or are they susceptible to other candidates who frankly have a similar message that Bernie had to himself in 2016?
I think most of Bernie's coalition is still with him, to be perfectly honest. And I think we see that in the Emerson poll that came out that showed him leading the pack in Colorado. So it's, with all due respect to my colleagues at this table, this is not a fringe lunatic bunch of people. It is a large chunk of Colorado voters. And so I think it would be hard to underestimate, the strength of his organizing efforts. We saw that in 10,000 people showing up at this rally. I don't think any other presidential candidate in recent memory has drawn that in Colorado. And I don't think that, and I think we see it, frankly, in those polls that are coming out. Because this race and the thing that people continually underestimate about him and underestimated about Trump, frankly, is that elections are not won on TV these days. They are won in kitchen table conversations.
That's a good point. Patty, do you think this will trigger more visits from more presidential candidates, or was it just because Bernie knows he has pretty friendly ground here in Colorado?
Well, as we go further along and some candidates start dropping out, I do think we'll see people. Elizabeth Warren's momentum is pretty strong right now. If you just get anecdotal evidence from Facebook, people who are commenting in Colorado, I think she would draw a crowd that is pretty close to what Bernie drew if she came to Colorado soon. She hasn't had the same ground game or the head start that Bernie had here, but I think she's definitely going to give him a run for his money. Will we still have Bennett, a hometown candidate come March? That's a hard one to tell because he could take some of the votes away just because of the local hero angle.